Welcome to another episode of the And Now I Know podcast. I'm your host, 32 Flavazz, and I'm here to inspire you to live life at your fullest potential. If you're looking for a podcast that's going to inspire you to chase your dreams, motivate you to get up each and every day, and help you navigate life just a little bit better, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching or listening right now on YouTube. And if you're listening on any streaming platform, I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, you name it, be sure to hit that follow button and don't forget to download each episode. Now, I told you guys I was going to keep it light. Okay, so the last episode you guys seemed to enjoy. I was just giving you guys my glow up tips, and I think you guys really loved that. So we're going to keep the ball rolling. And now I want to talk about love and relationships. Now I know I had an episode before with my bestie, and we talked about, that was called Woman to Woman. So if you haven't checked that out, go back and listen. But on that episode, we were just giving out like our 5 big sis tips, or based off of our healing that we had at that time and the growth that we had done at that time. And it's only been a couple months since that episode released, but I do feel like I want to, one, dig deeper, because I didn't dig as deep because we were, that was like a girl talk type of episode. Now, I want to present you guys my 32 full take on love and relationships. And I just want to talk about and share my tips and my thoughts on love and relationships today, because my perspective since has grown and developed, and I'm able to talk more about it in detail. And I believe that this episode will help somebody. This is not particularly for women. It's not just for men. It's not about me picking sides, because you know how you guys like to do on the internet when it comes to this relationship conversation. But I want to talk about love and relationships the 32 way. And I'm going to give you guys the game raw and uncut, like I would give, somebody on the street, or I would give a family member or a friend. And this is just where I'm at right now with love and relationships. So let's get right into it. If you're watching right now, you see I have my handy dandy book. This book right here, I've been trapping in this journal. Like this is my prayer journal, and a lot of important episodes or just important thoughts and prayers are in this book. And so when this book comes out, I mean business. But if you are not watching, obviously I have my prayer journal in my hand, and I got today's episode all in it, and I broke it down in totality. So I'm excited to dig deep. So let's just get into it. All right, I'm coming in hot. Let's talk about purpose. When you are dating, it is very important for you to be dating someone or being involved with someone who is purpose driven. And why do I say that? I know for a fact that we were all put on this earth for something. Like God gave us a job to do on this earth. Boom. As soon as we popped out our mom's womb. Okay. And with that being said, when we are not operating in our purpose, no matter, I don't care how much money you're making or what you're doing, if it is not your God-given purpose, you are not truly fulfilled and or satisfied. Okay. And just because you get money, just because you can hustle, just because you can grind, that don't mean Nathaniel. Okay. Because I'm going to use myself, for example. I had started this lash business 6 years ago. I've since then become an esthetician. I got my own shop, all of these things. I know today, because I am living in my purpose today, I know that that was a gift that God gave me, and that was a tool that God gave me to reach my dreams and to be able to have my own podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're literally inside of my shop. So with that being said, everything that you're doing that's making you money is not necessarily your purpose. So let me wheel that back to relationships. It is very important for you to be purpose driven, whether you a woman listening to this or a male, because if you are not happy within yourself, if you're not satisfied or fulfilled within yourself, how are you going to be happy with someone else? How are you going to be fulfilled, like truly fulfilled? Okay, you might feel good, the relationship might be cool, but truly fulfilled, like that, put your feet up type of feeling, kick your feet back type of feeling. How are you going to feel that if you're not truly happy living in your purpose? And so a lot of people may ask me, okay, well, how do I know if I'm living in my purpose or not? You know if you are living in your purpose, if God is in the middle of what you're doing. Because if you have an idea and if you working on something that does not require God, or you feel like you can handle it on your own without his help or without his guidance or without him keeping you in alignment, that means that that's probably just a dream and it's not big enough. I believe that dreams and God-given purpose, two totally different things. You see, anybody can dream. I can dream to be an astronaut. That don't mean God called me to be an astronaut. I could dream to be, I don't know, anything. And that don't mean God called me to that. So with that being said, I also don't believe that it is our job to help people find their purpose. Because like I said, it should be your God-given purpose. I'm not God. And a man can't be God. Like, we aren't each other's gods. And I'm speaking from my own experience. Nobody told me what my purpose was. Nobody told me, yeah, I can see you getting up and making motivational videos on the internet and they gonna go viral and this and that. Like, nobody told me that. This was a series of prayers. This was literally like the Holy Spirit telling me, like, this is your lane. Get in it and drive and take off in that lane. You feel me? And so I feel like I am able to see clear what I want for myself, my life. And I know that I am able to date or be in relationship because I know what my purpose is. I'm not letting somebody else lead me. I'm not expecting somebody else to help me figure it out, you know? And some people might argue this point, but I do believe that you should come into a relationship with purpose, period. The next thing I would like to say is, if we want to have a successful relationship, we cannot always just focus on the money. A lot of people talk about money, and we're not talking enough about legacy. You see, money is going to come with the legacy. Honestly, I believe that there will be an overflow of resources when you're operating in your purpose, which will lead you to legacy, right? And so when the conversation is always about money, when we always saying, I'd rather cry, at least I'm crying in the jet versus the bus, at least I'm crying in the double R versus the Nissan Altima, like, I don't want to be crying at all. I don't want to cry in the private jet or the Nissan. I don't want to cry anywhere. Why is that the bottom line? You know, what I'm crying in versus me actually crying. You feel me? And so this conversation, again, let me just put another disclaimer while I'm already deep into it now. This is for the people who want to live an intentional life and want to get closer to the person that God called them to. I'm just giving you the tips that help me and what I'm looking for. And this is coming from a sound mind and someone who's been in therapy for 2 years. And when I say my therapist literally is fire, shout out to her. And I'm not saying I know everything, but y'all get where I'm coming from. We 11 episodes in now, so you guys already know. But the conversation is always about money. And why is money the ruler of every little thing? Now, let me put my disclaimer out there. When I talk about money isn't everything. Money isn't everything. Money is not everything, but you should not even be dating or pursuing people if your money is not right. Like, if you cannot provide for yourself well enough, or just well, period. If you can't provide for yourself, period, you should not be trying to pursue anybody until your money is right, because dating takes money. Relationships take money. I don't care how many times y'all go to the park and keep it real cute and do those picnics. It costs. Everything costs. For people who can fend for themselves and can say that they're doing all right, because this economy is crazy, right? So the average person is, penny pinching right now. Focus more so on legacy. And that goes back to my first point with purpose. If you are looking at somebody and they are deep off in their purpose and they know what they want and they getting up and they showing up for themselves every day, let that person cook, okay? Don't worry about all the money that they have right now, because if you believe in the purpose, if you believe in the vision, the money gonna come, the resources gonna come. They gonna get connected to the right person to take them to the next level. And I think we always focus on what he got, what he drive, what he have, or what she got, what she drive, what she have. I guess men maybe don't look at that as much as women do, and I used to be one of those people that would look at men like, okay, well, what do you have? What do you have? And you ignoring what's deep down up in there, because how many of you guys know people with money, with status, and they are literally so crummy, bad character, bad apples? They shine though, they look pretty, but they taste bad. That's not what I want in my life. And I want to encourage you to not want that either. You know what I'm saying? But do what you want to do. But if we talking relationship tips from 32, focus on legacy. Okay, because again, going back to my very first point, God put us on this earth for a reason. He did not put us on this earth to just be worried about money and all these other things that are just materialistic things and superficial. It's deeper, it's bigger. And when I look at my life, when I see partnership, when I see marriage and things, I think legacy. When I think of family, I think of legacy. What can I leave for my kids? How are my kids going to be able to look at me? I want my children to say, mommy and daddy were impactful. They were insightful. They led people. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so the next thing. Love does not require, true love, the love that God has for you, does not require strategy. There's so many videos out there on social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, of people giving you tips on how to keep a man happy, how to keep a woman happy, how to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If that person ain't for you, if God didn't call you to that person, there's nothing you can do to make that person 100% satisfied. There's absolutely nothing you can do. If that person is not for you, that person just is not for you. You want to be a submissive girl. You want to talk like this. You want to walk like that. You got to cook like this. Like, no. If that man wants you, he going to get you. If that woman wants you, she going to let you know she wants you. You feel me? You don't have to do all these different things. You know, show up as your authentic self. One thing that my therapist told me, one of the many things that she told me, is to make sure that you just always focus on being your authentic self. That way you won't have any questions in your mind on how things could have went if you were to have been your true self, right? And so I think when it comes to women, and men do this too, but a lot of women I know, because I had been a victim of this. You want to show up, you really like a guy, you really like a person, and you want to show up the way that they want you to show up. It's like, no, you have to show up the way that you want to show up. You know what I'm saying? Because who wants to be... Okay, let me give y'all an example. If you know you like Boosie, Webby, and you like your music, certain type of music, and you're dating a guy that only likes girls that listen to that soft Cleo soul type of vibe. This is a silly example, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, girl, play your Boosie and your Webby and whatever. I don't think, do people still listen to Boosie and Webby? Why am I saying it? We love Boosie and Webby, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you do not have to curate your life to fit somebody else's life, like what they want. Let them people get what they want. And if you're not it, then you're just not it. Great. That makes you have a better chance of getting the person that God, or coming in contact with the person that God actually meant for you to have. You know, we be trying to dress ourselves up for people that's not even for us, and we really wasting time and increasing the chance of heartache and heartbreak. Love does not require all of that strategy. If somebody texts you and you want to text them back right away, text them back right away. You should already be living in your purpose and having stuff to do anyway. So, like, if you free, be free. If you're not free, you're not free. You feel me? If you watch these videos, it's like, don't respond to a man right away. Don't do this right away. It's like, who's creating the rules? Because just like I'm giving you guys tips from, I say, a sound mind, but it's still based off of my personal experience. You know what I'm saying? So who are we listening to? We don't even know the people that we listening to. You know what I'm saying? So Love doesn't require any strategy. Love is not confusing. You're going to know that it's from God and that person is for you if you're not confused. Now, you might have questions like, Lord, is this for me? That's normal. But if you're unsure, if you feeling in your stomach like, something not right, that's a red flag, and not a red flag based off of your insecurities and your trauma, a true, genuine character flaw or a true red flag. You feel me? But as I got deeper and dug deeper within myself, I realized it don't take too much. It don't take all of that with the person that's meant for you. It does not take too much. It does not take that much. Yes, we know love is patient, love is kind, love is all of those things. But love is not hard in my mind. In my mind, I don't feel like love should be that hard. I think we make it harder than what it has to be. And that just means that we're dealing with people that are not really for us. Next thing, this for my ladies. If you are wanting the white picket fence with the dog and you want your man to be, emotionally intelligent and all of that, let go of the idea of wanting the bad boy or the street guy. No shade, no tea, but they cannot provide that life for you. And if they do, you're probably not the only one that they're providing that life for. Right? Now, I don't want to box anybody in, but I'm just going off of the stereotype. So I guess I am boxing y'all in. I don't believe that the street guy can provide you the life that you really, really, really say you want. Like for real, deep down in your heart. You can act like you cool with it, but at the end of the day, the bad boy, the street guy, the street man, they can't even provide you a certain level of love because of their profession. Like you literally dating somebody in the streets that is for the streets. What is in the streets after a certain time? You know what I'm saying? And so we got to really ask ourselves and be real. What do we want? And if you want that, But you can't, I feel like in this situation, two things cannot be true. You cannot want the white picket fence and the dog and you want the street guy. Like you have to pick one. You feel me? You want somebody that's at home for dinner and the street guy is, as soon as his phone rings, sometimes he got to leave. Sometimes he got to make the call or take the flight or whatever the case is. Or the bad guy is just out doing who knows what in the club. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Next is going to be this 50-50 conversation. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of that, but I just have to say that it seems like only a certain body of people are having the 50-50 conversation, but I just want to dig deep on that point. In life, in love, there's no such thing as 50-50. Because if you are living in your purpose and you chasing what God called you to, like when you on the road to success, every day you're not going to be able to give a person 100%. I know me, the motivational speaker, the Miss Inspirational. Some days I'm not at 100. Some days I'm not even at 70. And so that is where your partner comes in. But when you expecting the 50, the 100, the 80, the 20, every day is probably going to change. And that's totally fine. But I think in this society, we don't really practice patience. And we don't even know what we should be patient with. And that's a whole nother conversation. But actually, I can add that to my point towards the end. So when we're talking about 50-50, man, again, this is for the people who are already financially stable or doing all right for themselves. We got to kill this 50-50 conversation because every day you're not always going to have 100%. And in life, there are seasons. I can even think back on seasons where I was really, really going crazy in here. COVID, any of y'all was going crazy during COVID? Like, that's just one example. That was a season. There are so many people that were booming during COVID or not. And things, have changed. So when we have this 50-50 conversation, I just want to say dead the conversation and just know that everybody is not going to be able to give everything all the time. Now, I do believe that a man is a provider. A man should provide, but it has to be bigger than the money. We only talk about providing when it comes to finances, when it comes to money. We're not talking enough about providing that emotion, that safe space that we always talk about. How about let's focus on who's providing the safe spaces? Let that be the conversation. Okay. Next is going to be potential. I think we focus on the wrong potential. Okay. Because we all have potential to do better. Even me. I consider myself to be very successful. I consider myself to be purpose driven. But I still have potential in different areas of my life. But when it comes to the bottom line, the basics, we talking about character, that checks off. We need to be talking about, okay, let me break it down for you guys. When we talk about potential, character and all of those things needs to be shoved to the side. Like those boxes already need to check off. When we talk about potential, I think that connects back with the purpose point. If you see somebody who's walking in their purpose and they're not all the way where God called them to be, like if they're not all the way in it, you know what I'm saying? Like even for myself, for example, I can say this podcast has potential. This podcast holds potential. So somebody can look at me and say, I see the potential in her and her podcast. The character is already checking off. Like the boxes are already checking off. I'm a woman of integrity. I'm ambitious. I'm God-fearing. This and that, right? Those boxes check off. When we dating people for potential, especially I'm gonna say with women, we looking at the wrong potential. Okay, if the person is trash, like if the character is trash, I'm trying to explain this in a way in which y'all can feel me without stepping on any toes, which is why I'm talking a little bit slower, because I want you guys to truly understand this. When we are talking about potential, the character has to already check off. The boxes there have to already check off. But if you see somebody and they are really chasing their dreams and they showing up for themselves every day, and you can see the works, because we say faith without works is dead. They're not just talking about their dream. They're actually pursuing their purpose, their dreams, all of that. Like they're working towards something bigger than them. That is what you want to judge the potential off of. I hope I broke that down good enough. I wish I could say that the way that God gave it to me when I was writing it down. Next is going to be women. We have to choose the men that appreciate women. We have to choose the men that love women, because men that love women, men that appreciate women, men that see the value in women, those are not the sassy men, right? They're not trying to be the woman. They're not acting like the woman. I believe that if a man has so much to say about a woman, what does that say about him? What does that say about him? Because there's no way that a man as powerful as he should be, as impactful as he should be tripping off a woman. My next point is that God has to be the source. When it comes to love and relationships, we need God at the source. And I know you like, yeah, blah, 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 violin. But no, really though, God has to be at the source, especially as a man. Women, when you're dating men, when you're with men, when you in a relationship with a man, you got to look at, what is he serving? Is he serving himself? Is he serving his homies? Is he serving like his community? Like, who is he serving? I believe that a man, in order for him to really guide you, he needs to be guided by the Lord. If he is not guided by the Lord, if he's not allowing the Lord to put him in alignment and to order his footsteps, where is he going to lead you to? Because the thing is, women don't have a problem submitting to a man. It's like, what are we submitting to though? Like, who is leading you? You know what I'm saying? So be sure to always keep God at the source. When you keep God at the source, you can pray to him and say, hey, I'm struggling here with the communication in the relationship, or I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to work his way through and all up in your business and help you navigate what you're going through. help you navigate that person, help you navigate that situation. God has to be the source, because our flesh will fail us a lot of times. Our emotions will fail us a lot of times. And you need a man that's reporting to God, and you need to be the woman that's reporting to God as well. You see, a woman's intuition is so powerful. I always say that I feel like the Holy Spirit just speaks to me in such a different way, especially with me being connected. And you can, just by you being connected to God as a woman, you can help your man become even more powerful than he already is, or I guess what he should be, right? And my next point is discernment. Discernment. I think when we dating people or when we're in relationship with people, we don't really talk about discernment as much. How do you feel when you're around that person? A lot of times I always say, what is your stomach telling you? Like, what is your soul telling you? That deep in your bones feeling, I always say that that's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. What does the Holy Spirit tell you about that person? Because if it don't feel right, it ain't right. If that person got you feeling like, I don't know, something's a little off, 9 times out of 10, it is. Now, as long as you're not basing that something's a little off based off of your insecurities or your own trauma, if something ain't right, it's just not right. And so we have to have discernment, because just because people are good people, that don't mean that they're good for you. I've came across a lot of good people. They were not for me. You feel me? People might come across me. I might not be for them. So we have to pray for discernment. We have to pray for wisdom to make the right choices when it comes to the people that we have in our lives. Because you really can slow down your process and slow down what God really has for you. You know, God saying go right and you making a left turn. You slowing yourself down. And yes, we say that everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that we can throw off the path. The thing is, God is a restorer, God is a redeemer, so he's going to always bring you back. But why have to be brought back when you can just walk on the right track when you pray and you ask for discernment? You feel me? Next is going to be know when to go. And that aligns right with the discernment. You got to know when to go. You got to know when something is for you and when it is not. And when something is not, that is okay. That just means that you're getting closer to what is actually for you. And I believe I talked about this on the Woman to Woman episode, but you got to know when to leave. It is so important. Don't make the red flag 6 flags, and know when to go. Know when to go. Even when you don't want to, you got to know when to go. Even when you like, well, all these boxes check off, so I can't really deal with that. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, at least he doesn't do this. It's like, no, you got to know when to go. Because when you doing all those, well, at least he not and at least she not, it's time to go. All right? Now, next is going to be patience. Patience, y'all. When it comes to people chasing their dreams, you got to be patient. When it comes to loving people, you have to be patient. Now, again, that goes back to one of my points when I was talking about the potential conversation. The character has to already be there. Okay, good character has to be there, bottom line. But be patient when it comes to loving people. Literally, the word says love is patient, love is kind. You got to be patient when it comes to working with people, because we are not the same. And I think a lot of times we expect people to be perfect and created just the way we want them to be created. And that's not real life. That's not logical. We all trying to figure this thing out, and people are changing every day. I know every week, every other day, I feel like I become more insightful, or I gain more knowledge and wisdom about certain things. So you got to grow with people, and you got to be willing to let people learn on their own and step out of the way of what God is trying to show people. You know, everything is not your assignment. And my final point of this episode is have a bottom line. In other words, have some non-negotiables. Have what you're willing to stand for. Have your list of morals and values, and make sure the person that you're dating, if you're dating with intention, make sure your morals and values align. Because if the morals and values do not align, you're going to have a tough time. in that situation, because you're going to spend too much time or a lot of your time trying to convince somebody to think like you. You're going to be trying to prove how your mindset, how your morals, how your values are the right ones and theirs are the wrong ones. And with that being said, you just have to have a bottom line, especially women. I think a lot of times we bend that bottom line. I don't even want to just say women, but we be bending that bottom line because we like a person. We be bending that bottom line because we really want to be with somebody so bad, and they look so good, they smell so good, they make us feel so good. But let's just be real. Once the butterflies and the honeymoon phase goes away, you're going to be looking at that person crazy because you're like, dang, I couldn't even convince them to change. I couldn't even convince them to be what I wanted them to be. And you got to know that we cannot convince people to be what we want them to be. People are going to be what they want to be and do what they want to do. And that goes to another point where everything is not your job. A lot of times you got to let God work through people and work on people. But just because you allowing God to work on people and work through people, that don't mean you have to be in attendance. That don't mean you have to have a front row seat. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to remove yourself and let God work. If the bottom line is not bottom lining, if the people are not if the person is not meeting your, if you and the person don't have the same morals and values, I just believe that sometimes we got to step out of God's way. Now, when it comes to love and relationships, I don't know all of the things, but I feel like I dropped a few extra gems for the people in the back who wanted a little bit more than what I gave in that Woman to Woman episode. So as you guys know, I always close out each episode with the And Now I Know segment. And now I know that what's for you is truly for you. And it's going to come to you and it's going to gravitate towards you. You're not going to have to do anything out of the ordinary. You're not going to have to do anything extra for what's meant for you. What's meant for you won't have you questioning yourself. What's meant for you won't have you confused. The person that's meant for you won't have you doubting yourself, becoming insecure, not loving yourself. That's not the type of God that we serve. He doesn't want a person in your life that's bringing you down or bringing you away from him. You want to have somebody in your life that make you want to praise him or make you want to get closer to him and connected to him. Him as in God. So, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the And Now I Know podcast. This was great. I have been thinking about doing this for a while, and I'm like, I don't know what the people gonna think or how they're gonna respond to this, because I don't really like talking about relationships really, because the internet, I don't like debating with people about what I feel. Like, there's no debate. Anything I said today is not up for debate, really. These are my thoughts and just how I feel on love and relationships. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on any streaming platform, again, hit that follow button. And don't forget to connect with me, because I love hearing from you guys. I love when you guys tag me when you're watching the episodes and repost the episodes and different clips from the episodes. So don't forget to find me at 32 Flavazz on Instagram, and the podcast page is at And Now I Know Podcast. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. Again, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a great day, a great night, a great morning. I don't know when you're listening to this, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.